I am DeDe Heid, and I am inspired by genuine passion.
She's a UW Green Bay alum with a degree in business administration. She's an active volunteer in the community, serving as the vice chair of Goodwill North Central Wisconsin and as a member of the UW Green Bay Arts, Humanities, and Social Sciences Advisory Board. Most importantly, she's the president of Heid Music, a family-owned and operated business currently celebrating 75 years with locations in Appleton, Green Bay, Oshkosh, Stevens Point, and Madison, Wisconsin. Their mission, to bring happiness and help improve quality of life through all things music. Please welcome DeDe Heid.
It's hard to define what really has fueled me in my life, but I think it's where I can get that energy off of others. And when you find people that have that certain spark or want to lean in and help to teach, educate, give something, I find that to be passion. It doesn't have to always be the cartwheels and rainbows and, balloons going off. But I think when you can really lean in and learn something from someone else and be able to gain that, and that's what real passion is.
Yeah, so that's really interesting, especially because I've known you for a few years now, and I know like you are someone who's involved in quite a bit, right? And so I've worked with you obviously through the university where you serve on our advisory board, and you've been so helpful to me in all those ways. But then also I know that you're really involved with Goodwill, and so I'm always curious when I meet people like you who are so involved, like what are the things that drive you? What do you choose to lean into and so on?
Yeah. Well, I feel that part of that came from my amazing grandfather who really was a change agent in my life and inspired me. And I think we're here to serve. And so while I have my day life of everything with Heid Music, I really want to find the ways to get to know more about our communities and the ways to make them better. And to me, that's how we serve. And it's been interesting. In my first nonprofit thing that I served on and was a part of a board was Rebuilding Together of the Fox Valley. Not something that I would have thought would have said, okay, I want to go learn about rehabbing homes and different aspects. But it was really about helping people to stay in their homes and create that dignity and work and collaborate with others. And just each thing has segued to other unique opportunities. But there are things we have to say no to, right? They might be very important causes, but there's just not the time to say yes to everything. So I think the answer is finding the thing that you can rally around. So when you help tell the story or use your time, because that's the one thing we don't get more of in life, right? That you really want to serve and find the way to get involved.
Yeah. So let's go back then, because you mentioned your grandfather. So now I know of your journey. I know you graduated from UW Green Bay.
I did.
But what I don't know is sort of the story before that, as far as who you were in high school, who you were growing up, where you're from, what brought you to UW Green Bay, and so on.
Sure. It's a little bit of a twist and turn, I guess, in some regards. But my parents divorced when I was young, at 2. And at that point, that's where my grandparents also helped to take that really key part of my role and not just be my grandparents, but also kind of secondary as parents and lean in and help. And so they were part of a lot of my upbringing. I moved several times throughout my growing up in just outside of the Madison area. And then in 8th grade, we landed in Deerfield, Wisconsin, a very small town with 28 kids in my graduating class.
Oh, wow.
And what I actually am super grateful for with that opportunity is that being in a small community gave me the opportunity to be involved in a lot of things. And so in growing up, I was able to play volleyball and basketball and softball. I was able to be the president of our class and be in forensics and be in student government and be in the show, be in choir and do the play. And all of those things really just were so exciting to me that it wasn't you to just pick one. And I think that's right. That's kind of tough right now for kids. It's kind of like they only get to pick one or two things, or it might be so competitive that they don't get a chance to kind of get a taste for different things. And so that was really great. And at that point, I wasn't necessarily the smartest, I would say, overall, but academically, I did I was the valedictorian of our class, which led me that, right, thank goodness, in the state of Wisconsin, that means that you are able to go to school with that help and guidance, which was great. And probably a lot of kids would have picked, well, I want to go to UW-Madison. I want to go to the biggest in these things. And my mom was here doing an extended degree program, right?
Really?
So we lived in Deerfield. It's a few hours away from here, essentially. And she was an adult student, but would only come to campus once a month, every other month, and was doing this extended degree program. And that led me to come to check out UWGB. And I had looked at Madison and Whitewater and Green Bay and various other ones. And probably first I picked because the bathrooms in the dorm rooms. I mean, it's just kind of a nice, really cool thing. But wow, being a part of this campus, right, and walking back on here today, and obviously I've been here several times through different opportunities, I really felt so cool to think about something that I did in the fall of 1993, truly aging myself, right? How it would have this long-lasting impact on my whole life and serve me in ways that I could have never figured out at that time. And this is really a very special place that I know we're doing great, right? I love hearing Chancellor Alexander tell all the amazing statistics about UWGB and our enrollment and the changes we're making. But I feel like we're still a hidden gem here at UWGB. And people really have to check us out because you create lifelong learners. And I think it really is that sense of community.
Yeah.
And it's given me that.
I didn't know that about the story about your mom being here and that being part of what drove. That is a story that I think is really in some ways uniquely UW Green Bay, you know, and it's not the first time I've heard that. Like we've had graduates who've graduated at the same ceremony as their parents or whatever. That their parents graduated. So yeah, it's because you're right. We're working hard to graduate lifelong learners, and we want people from high school to whenever coming here and engaging. So yeah.
And my sister also came here.
That's right. Yeah.
She's technically my half sister, but I think of her as a genuine full-in sister, 12 years younger than me, and happened to be one of your students, which we didn't know about, right? For years after almost.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite stories, was one day seeing her on Facebook, I think, post a picture of you and saying, my amazing sister is doing X, Y, and Z. And I was like, whoa, I had no, and then I, of course, immediately saw the resemblance once I realized it. So that's really funny. Yeah, because she was a fantastic student of mine when she was here. So I agree with you. I think that UWGB is absolutely a hidden gem. I love coming to campus here. Tell me about your time here. What did you study and what were some of the memories?
Oh my gosh. So I was a business major in marketing. I did not do very well academically my first year, which led to a little downfall on my scholarship, but I earned it back.
Okay.
And that was because those darn accounting and econ classes, they just got the best of me out of the gate. But loved so much what I learned in my business classes, and specifically Don McCartney was really amazing. And my minor is in communication processes and in organizational communication, and learning from Phil Clampett was incredible. So I feel academically there was really awesome things and teachers that really leaned in and would see you and know you couldn't just go. Sure, some people maybe can just check the box and go to class, but I think they really wanted to help you navigate, help me with internships. So I had several internships off campus, and then on campus, I got the opportunity to be a part of the admissions office, which was really awesome. And I think back to that now and think, wow, as the young person that I was, the opportunities that I had in the office were pretty incredible, to run focus groups and work on helping to inspire and work with parents on that decision making and their questions. And I was with Carla Duvall, and she happened to be then on a maternity leave. So learning how to help with graduation and doing so many cool facets was really wonderful. My freshman year, I also tried out for the softball team and walked on. And that was
I am
pretty
learning
cool
so much
thing.
today.
Oh my gosh, right? You're like, wait, what? I know I have all these nooks and crannies. Now that was a really big learning for me, right? Coming from Deerfield, which we were my high school girlfriends, my husband always teases, we were pretty dedicated athletes and still to this day have a high competitive spirit. So I thought I could accomplish anything as we had a successful softball team. The first time then you really I was a catcher in high school and took a pitch from Kelly, the softball pitcher that came in from Canada, completely different ball game,
Wow.
literally.
Okay.
But thank you to Gene Rivet who gave me that chance, and it was phenomenal. I won the Spirit Award because I didn't really get to play a lot, which is fine. Not my gifts per se, but it was awesome. And not too long ago, I actually ran into Gene at a basketball game that I was at with my girlfriend, Kate Burgess. And Ryan had been sitting in the pit of my stomach for a while because I ended up quitting. She didn't not welcome me back the next year, but I didn't communicate that I wasn't going to do it. I chose not to do it because I had lost my academic scholarship, as I said, and I was like, okay, I got to hustle and get really serious about my grades and what might have to give. And shame on me because I probably could have done all of them. And Gene was great because here I'd been harboring this poor communication thing that I did from when I was 20, like not even 20, 19 years old.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh my gosh, DeDe. She's like, I was my first year in coaching. And we had this like so incredible conversation and rallied. And I told her how I had this vintage, now they call it. I showed her a picture of my mom wearing one of my old UWGB softball shirts. And she's like, oh my God, you have to show these girls. They're going to love it. So that was really cool. And I met so many great people through that experience, as well as being able to travel with the team, to do training in Florida. It was great. And then after I didn't do softball anymore, I got involved in student government.
Okay.
And it started by me getting an on-campus job. So I love how we do the job fairs. And so at that point, I got paid to be the secretary of the student senate. So it was an elected position. And then I got the bug for that, and eventually then became the speaker of the student senate.
Oh, wow.
And that was really cool, working on the negotiations and learning more about the SUFAC fees and thinking about the things that teaching students of where their funds can go, and now legacy of where those fees go to the cool buildings we have and opportunities for future students. So it was, Ryan's so amazing.
So, I mean, this is the theme that comes through, right? So in high school, really, I guess, using the phrase lean in, right? You're engaged in a whole bunch of stuff outside of just your classroom work. In college, you're engaged in a whole bunch of stuff outside of the classroom, whether it's softball or student government or getting on-campus jobs and a host of things like that. And then I know you have continued that in your professional life as well. And so it does seem like there is, to go back to the word you used to start, there's this passion to be involved, right?
Yes, so yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for putting a thumbprint on it. I haven't really defined myself yet, but that is.
I mean, I think that's really fantastic. And I think, I want to talk a little bit about what you've done since graduating. But also I do want to just pause for a moment and highlight for our students, because to me, what's so important about what you're saying is all of these opportunities that are happening on campus, but outside of the classroom. And I think that's a really critical piece of college that I want to make sure students acknowledge and pay attention to.
You're right. I think it is interesting, right? We're in a time where people are saying, well, do I really need to go get a degree? Do I go to school, college, university? And I'd say it's yes, get the degree, but that's not really what it's all about, right?
Yep.
It is creating this long-term network and thinking outside of what your degree will just be.
Yeah, I mean, even to your point, like we were talking about Kelsey, your sister, before, like Kelsey and I mean, Kelsey took classes from you, of course, but where we worked much more closely was on a bunch of research projects, right? And so she was my research assistant for a while, which was work happening outside of the classroom, and hopefully it was a good experience for her. So
it was great, and thank you for. We right now are doing our road trips to Chicago weekly for her cancer treatments, but she talks still about that opportunity.
Oh, wow.
And you know what's cool, Ryan, is she couldn't see it in herself. So her getting that opportunity here helped her to flourish in so many other ways.
Oh, wow.
And she just says how great that really was and led her to the things that she then wanted to do and worked at Rogers and worked in behavioral health and different things. So
Oh, that's wonderful to hear. I love that. So, and of course, I'm thinking about her all the time right now.
Thank you.
So, yeah.
Appreciate it.
So let's talk a little bit about what you have done since. So you graduated business admin, communication, combo there. Where do you head? Where do you head after graduation?
So I think it's interesting because I think people think they need to figure it all out. And I didn't. At first, I thought maybe I would just move back to that Madison area. And I ended up getting a job at the Green Bay Press-Gazette and selling newspaper advertising, which was really a good thing in a couple of ways. One, it was owned by Gannett. So I do think that there was some really cool training and opportunities in the different things and learning that selling's not a bad word. And through that, I was able to meet so many different business owners and learn about the community. And to me, too, I didn't want to just place their ads. I wanted to know what their goals and vision were and how to learn about those cool businesses.
Did you know when you graduated you wanted to go into sales, or was that unexpected? No. Okay.
And I even think now, gosh, if I could go all the way back, maybe what would I study different or still rewind or maybe still will happen in this next decade. Anyhow, but then one of my accounts became Heid Music when it was not in its current location, but further down the street. And I was in the parking lot getting ready to go in to call in my sister-in-law, Kim Heid Manty, and was on a phone call with one of my high school girlfriends, Tara, saying, "Oh yeah, I'm going to come home this weekend to go do this other thing and meet up with this person." And she's like, "Not a good idea." Well, that's when DeDe Heid tripped on the parking thing in front of me, and I went in to sell them newspaper advertising in September of 1998, and here we are, how many years later, married and with 3 kids. So I, started in newspaper advertising and landed a husband right out of UWGB. I did that job for only about 2 years or so, and then thought I wanted to do something different and more, and for lots of reasons. And then there was a pharmaceutical sales fair of where they were having this meeting, like an open interview session. And I went to that and ended up then going into pharmaceutical sales for greater than 6 years. And that was also a really cool learning for me. I know it can kind of get a bad rap. And I learned in corporate sales training, I really felt like I could research the different things that I was doing and lean into health and wellness. And I really learned a lot through that and was able to do some sales training through that for others and learn from a corporate level as well. And then we had our daughter, Braylon, and I thought, okay, I need to take a pause and be a stay-at-home mom. And I guess my brain and body probably aren't wired like that. So a short time into that, she probably was only about 6 months old, or just over. And somebody went in to sell to DeDe Heid different services for mailing and distribution and things from Fulfillnet at the time. And Todd looked at this man and said, "It sounds to me more like you need a salesperson. You should meet my wife." And I was not looking for a job. I think there was just something that he was kind of thinking about with that passion and connection. And then I got to meet Kate Burgess, and I literally, in this interview process she took me through, I said, "You had me at hello." I just knew I could learn so much from her. I was so excited about what she was building as a business, and it was so incredible.
Nice.
So I was with Fulfillnet/Elevate for over a half a dozen years before I said I would only break up with her to go be with my husband and be in our family business, which has been great.
Yeah. And then you've been doing that for 12 years?
Oh my gosh, a little bit more, I guess.
Longer?
I date everything by my kiddo, Otto. So he's going to be already 14 this March. And so I started working with Todd before I was pregnant. So I guess going on 15 years almost. It'll be this November or so. So yeah, September.
So what do you love about working for Heid and for doing the work you do?
So it's interesting, right? You're like, did you think you'd always be selling? And I don't want to apologize that we're going to sell cellos, as Kennedy, is going to get back into playing, or trumpets or those things. I feel like being a part of the business that I'm in, I get to really change and impact lives. Music is a part of everybody's life in some way, shape, or form, generally every day. It can set a tone and a mood and an energy. And there's so much incredible research around the value of music. So I feel very fortunate to be in something that, yes, I do want us to be the leading music resource in the state of Wisconsin and beyond. But when you invest in those instruments and goods from Heid Music, we're going to give it back too, right? We're working to enrich our team, and we employ greater than 90 people in our 6 facilities throughout the state. We're working to donate all the time and work within our communities to make more music makers. So calling on school music programs. So working with, from those just getting started to also thinking of how do we inspire adult music making and not I always wanted to play. It's cool now knowing that music research shows it can help with dementia and Alzheimer's. Why not? Right. So I guess I feel pretty fortunate to align where I am and be able to be a part of something that can impact and change lives and communities.
I don't know if I ever told you this. This was my pandemic hobby. So everybody, not everybody, but people developed, little hobbies during the pandemic.
It was actually a healthy time for us in some ways. Yeah.
And so one of mine was that we got a little electric piano of some sort. Because I played when I was a kid, I played the piano and the saxophone, and then I stopped when I graduated, like Kennedy, our producer today. Yeah,
we get you all back into it.
Yeah, and but so we bought. It was actually for the kids, and so I thought, you know what, I'm going to do this too. So I downloaded an app that would it was actually pretty cool. It would listen to me play and correct me or let me know when I was screwing up, which I needed. So I did that for honestly 2 years. I would carve out a good chunk of time most days to just sit down and play the piano. So I admit I sort of stopped at a certain point. I kind of got out of it, but it felt like a really good, healthy habit for me for a little while. So
well, maybe we should just have one in your guys' offices here. It sounds like we could create this many. Well, and it is, right? It can be very therapeutic or the ways that our brains work. And now obviously with how you have the departments that you're all over, you're seeing these really cool weave. You all are the ones that taught me about the growth of a master's of fine arts over just traditional masters of business, right? Masters of business. And because we need all of the ways that we solve problems creatively, and arts and music allow those opportunities.
Well, and I think for me too, I've shared this on social media a little bit too, that I went through a stage this summer where I was really struggling to sleep. And I started to realize how hard it is for me now to quiet my brain down. And so I've been trying to find some tasks, and I haven't actually tried music in this way yet, but things like coloring has been a thing that I've done a little bit more of. Trying to listen to easy stories, that aren't too too busy, not too much going on or whatever. Taking my dog for more walks and trying to pay attention to nature while I'm out there. All of those are things, but I imagine that actually the playing the piano would be one of those things that could help me sort of quiet my brain down.
Right.
Yeah.
Or I would wonder maybe how that music and then what you'd think through and kind of envision and do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if it's I do have a lot of issues with sleep, but it's all good. But I probably don't help myself with my big caffeine addiction and all that stuff.
I think that adds to my problems as well. So very good. Excellent. So we were talking before. You said you haven't necessarily defined yourself yet, or things. When you think about the future for you, and you think about kind of what your hopes and dreams are, do you have plans? What's the typical question? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Do you have thoughts about any of that?
There's a few things that are kind of ruminating, but it's interesting. I mentioned my dear friend Kate Burgess, and she's always one of those people, right? Write down your goals and what are we going to do? And I'm generally all about true goal setting and have done a lot of that, right? Put in the mirror. Right now, I think I'm in the spirit of my life of just being open and being open to the learning and the opportunity in general. Not trying to figure out what I'm going to go chase, but think about where it may take me based on who I might meet and what I might be able to learn and adapt to. I don't know if that makes sense, but I don't know. I mean, there's things with just want to keep figuring out how I better serve, but keep my brain sharp, stay involved, find the fun, be with my kids.
Well-
I feel I just turned 50 in September, and it feels actually pretty darn good.
I did this in
Right?
December.
Right,
So yes,
yeah.
I turned 50 just about a month ago, so 2 months ago.
Right.
So yeah, no, and it wasn't the shock that I'd been led to believe it would be.
Right?
Yeah.
And maybe that's because that's what our mindsets are at right now. I
Right.
think saying, wow, I still get to explore and do so many different potential things. I don't know that I want to pigeon and say it's this thing's going to be the
Right.
thing. And maybe it's because it's going to be one of my friends I'm meeting and working and collaborating with in real partnership. Maybe we're going to design something else. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things I'd like to be a part of. And
Well, and I know the side of this we haven't talked about yet is that your involvement in national organizations around music education and things like that. So let's take a couple minutes to tell people about your involvement with some of those groups.
Okay, cool. I would love that. So nationally, there's a group, and I guess I would actually call it internationally, called NAMM, the National Association of Music Merchants. I have had the opportunity to serve on that board, and not just serve, but also have helped with two other women that we created a sub-organization member benefit called Women of NAMM. It started as SWIM, Smart Women in Music, but now we are officially Women of NAMM. And one came to be because there really wasn't a lot of women or as much diversity as we'd like to see in leadership positions within the music products industry. So NAMM, essentially, we have a global trade show that happens each January in Anaheim, California. I would welcome people to really check it out that are passionate, not just about the gear, because yes, you can go see all the cool products that are coming out, but they have so many really incredible education sessions and programming that they do, whether that be around music education. It could be about learning podcasting, all the ways that music come together. And right now, NAMM is also working on careers in music. So to show that maybe you're not just going to go tour as a guitarist across the globe, but learning in music and music business, all the things that they can do. So I'm very excited to have served and still be very involved with NAMM and the efforts that they do. And we also have groups of us that go do a fly-in in May in Washington, D.C., and that is really where we go to advocate for music and music education and the industry and what music has for value in our communities. And I've had that opportunity a couple of times. It puts very much anxious in my tummy, but it's so also invigorating. And really say I would say all of us should try to do more advocacy work, whether that's in the state. I just had that opportunity last week as part of Wisconsin Music Educators Association. And I don't know, maybe I'm just too, what do they call it? Rose-colored glasses. But I really do not think that music or arts should be a political issue on either side. I think education and music and arts are things that make our community better. There's data, there's things. So let's just make it happen, be investors, because by doing that, we know it can create the creative economies. We know well-rounded education matters. So so I'm involved in a lot of those initiatives nationally and statewide. Women of NAMM, it's kind of like having a fourth child in some ways.
That's amazing.
I feel like it's kind of the legacy I want to leave in different ways, that if I can help lift a woman or an organization to see how having a diverse workforce really does make us better and stronger, it matters. And I'm pretty proud to say we've had 6 different, we call it a leadership immersion summit. And we've been able to fund to send 18 different women to the NAMM headquarters in California, where they do this 3-day immersion experience. We hire a third-party coach that works with them, and Jennifer Hall, and then she takes them through their professional journey. And these women have developed not just professionally, but personally, and there are ways that they're now giving back to serve our industry or their communities. So I think that's the thing, that sometimes I think we all think, oh my gosh, I have to get in front of this large room or these different things. But sometimes it's how do we take the hand of one person at a time and make them be seen and heard. So that's what I've done between NAMM and Women of NAMM, working with WMEA on advocacy work.
Oh, that's incredible. Yeah. And it dovetails nicely into, I want to transition to our 3 questions here.
Okay.
So first one is, who do you hope you are inspiring?
Everyone? I know that's not, or anyone. I think maybe I'd say anyone. And I think you just never know who might be that one person that needs a pick me up today or would find that one thing. Because I find inspiration in some of the most awkward places and things that I wouldn't think are possible. So I would hope that maybe there's just someone I can make their day and their ability to go do something more for someone else better.
That is fantastic. That's wonderful. Book, movie, piece. Is this where you brought?
I did. I'm sorry. I'm a prop person. Okay,
No,
I couldn't narrow into just one. I loved this
fine.
question. Okay, so I want to say, you say show. I love Ted Lasso.
Of course.
Okay.
It's fantastic.
And then did you ever do the podcast that followed? There's several of them, but
No.
oh my gosh, it was so good.
Really?
The podcast, and it makes me want to watch Ted Lasso again and again. And I just think it's great in so many capacities, in coaching and really, right? I don't want to call it management or leadership. I think we're coaches. And I know you like that because you're an athlete. So I love that, but personally on who we want to be and what we do, I would say that. My big secret thing is I listen to mantra loops. Specifically, I might be getting her name wrong, and I apologize because someday I want to interact with her. I would call her, I think it's Geminelle, Geminelle. I'll have to send it to you, but she's got really great ones. Like she's got some stuff that says my success is inevitable, or when you need to invite peace and joy, and really cool ones. So and my energy is infinite. That one.
I have been writing and researching a lot about mantras lately.
Okay.
Yeah, just because I do think it's an underutilized like emotion management tool. That having some things you can fall back on when you are or when you are in any kind of distress or feeling uncertain can be a really nice way to move forward and to sort of ground yourself or center yourself. So,
I know. And I think I used to think that some of those things were like super hokey or like had to be a deep yogi to get it. Oh my gosh, it is.
Yeah.
So the thing. Okay, but books, I do want to tell you because
show and tell.
A couple shout outs of some
You're
different
the
things.
second guest to bring show and tell, by the
really?
way. So this is an okay thing. I like it.
So professionally, this is our journey as Heid Music is Patrick Lencioni.
Okay.
And I'm not sure if you've done anything with Patrick Lencioni. We started this whole program, the 6 Types of Working Genius, as a whole team. And so it really talks about the widget, and like in my amazing Goodwill Yeti there, right, is what might fuel you. And my 2 things that fuel me might be different than yours. And as we're collaborating, but getting to know that so that when your energy is coming down, we really learn how to lean into each other. So, for example, in the widget, I'm a big discerner. So I ask a lot of questions, and that might drive some people nutty, especially if you're big in the other parts of like wonder and invention, and you're like, stop, I just want to go fly. But I'm not doing it to be annoying. I want to seek to better understand. And then my other big thing that gets me going is I'm a galvanizer, because once I'm in, I feel like I can preach it, sell it. I want to bring everybody along. Because once I'm going to leave that thing, I want other people that will take it. So I really love this, and we've done it as a team. It helped us also to respect one another. Literally, when our coach for this, Mariah Farrell, was working on this with our team, I had this huge epiphany with my husband, who it's hard to work with your spouse, Ryan.
Oh, I'm sure.
Blessing and curse. And I was like, this is why I get so frustrated with you. I just want to land the plane and move forward. And as I'm landing, you bring it all the way back up, and I can't, right? So it's very visual and good.
Nice.
And then we just went through as a leadership team, the 5 dysfunctions of a team. And you can also see what a dork I am, that I like to write notes. And and that was good. And I don't like that name, but it really talks about being one team and having a shared vision and how you work and collaborate. So very practical, easy reads, and they have cool tools to go along with them. Right. So I like that.
Excellent.
And then this was a cool journey that I went on with some of my friends, with Mel Robbins and the Let Them Theory. And her podcast has some really great stuff. I would say that's a great one to listen to at different times too. And her energy and what she's come from and how she's really making a positive impact. And a lot of her stuff is on mindset and the different aspects too, right? And last Mother's Day, I got to go with 3 other really inspirational women and see her live.
Oh, really?
So that was really cool.
Oh, that's very cool.
Yeah, with my friend Kate and Marissa and Sharon. And then this, okay? So you mentioned coloring. And this one, again, where would people maybe find us, lead us? And Kat Gottlieb, her and Brian Gottlieb were local. Brian used to own Tundraland and has done a lot for the community. He came and spoke for us on leadership and teamwork and inspiration and at one of our Heid Huddle hangouts. And I didn't know this about Kat. I knew she was a visual artist. And I happened to run into her downtown, and she's like, will you come to my book release? And I was like, book release? And so she did this book called Via Wonderment and Manifesting the Life of Your Dreams. And I work regularly to, kind of take a day, and you can kind of doodle and write your points. And for me, this has been a good thing of wisdom begins in wonder. And it does talk about who do you surround yourself with that then may be able to give you that thing that you bring the good to each other. And so that's my thing right now. Like, I cannot handle toxicity. And that's not, again, I'm okay if we're on different sides of different things, as long as we're kind and we want to both learn from one another. Like, that's cool. So those are my books.
Oh, that's fantastic. I love it.
Show and tell.
Yeah. No, thank you for the show and tell. All right, last question. Piece of advice that you have for someone who has not yet found their way.
Well, considering maybe I haven't yet found my way, I would say be open, be curious, find the awe. And that was a cool thing that I also listened to one day, that maybe sometimes just, you mentioned walking your dog, but going out with the silence and just saying, I really want to better observe something in today, because that might find you your way to a different thing. So I think if we're not curious and open to those different things, we might just let our life pass us by. And that would be sad too, because maybe it's some of those things we'll find personally will lead us to really cool professional things too. And I think that all those things do intersect in a good way.
This has been fantastic. Thank you so very much for being here. Anything else you want to say? Real quick, let me tell people where they can find out more about you, Heid Music. We were talking about LinkedIn before, but where can people find out more about you?
Okay, well, of course, HeidMusic.com, or come to any of our amazing Heid Music locations.
Yep. 5 locations,
we would love
right?
that. Yes,
All
Appleton, Green Bay, Oshkosh, Stevens Point, and Madison. And of course, you can shop on HeidMusic.com. We've got lots of socials for HeidMusic.com, and my team will help to get me better in tune with doing my stuff. But I do my LinkedIn more than anything.
Okay.
But I'm working on Insta. I did my first Insta post.
Oh, okay.
My kids are trying to help me and inspire me. They're trying to teach me how to better selfie, right?
Excellent.
But those would be the things. I would say, or let's find a cool thing in the community to join up at and learn from one another.
I love that too. Excellent. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
And this has been fantastic.
Thank you, Ryan. Appreciate it.
The Lantern is brought to you by Good Cause Productions at the University of Wisconsin, Green Bay. The executive producer is me, Ryan Martin, and the production manager is Rachel Sankey. The engineer for today's episode is also Rachel Sankey, and that music you love so much was arranged for us by our very own Michelle McQuaid-Dewhurst. Special thanks also to our guest, DeDe Heid. If you haven't already, please make sure to rate, review, and subscribe to us on your favorite podcast platform. Keep being amazing.